Hello, Wakefield. Thank you for joining for the Town Council meeting of July 14th. I call this meeting to order, and I ask everyone to raise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have all of our counselors in attendance today, including Counselor Chrisley on the Zoom, and we welcome Counselor Fox. Congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
Welcome to the Town Council. And yeah, let's go. Item number 4, public participation. Sherry, is there anyone on the Zoom?
No, we have no one tonight.
Great. And is there anyone for public participation? Nope. So you're later on the agenda. Great. We do have a letter in our folder from former town administrator Steve Mayo. I don't think I need to read the letter, but we all have it and it'll be included in our packet. I think he was caught off by surprise by Tom's words at our last meeting and was unable to read what he had wanted to share. So he put that in writing to us. Okay, going on to voting matters, item 5A. We're going to continue our discussion about the Eagle Scout project.
Hi.
Hi, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again, too.
So you had come and presented this at a previous meeting, and we have a policy where we open it up for public comments. We got a lot of public comments that are all in the materials. Overwhelmingly, people were really supportive. I'm trying to go through really quickly if there's anything that stands out. Does anyone want to comment or say anything or ask any further questions?
Hi.
Councillor Constance?
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Ben. How are you?
I'm doing good.
I wasn't as familiar with the history of Spalding Playground and the location of where you propose the project. I think it's a fantastic idea. I'm super excited about it. Because I was not as familiar with some of the placement, I took the liberty of talking to the president of the Wakefield Community Neighborhood Association. And his only question on behalf of his group was who's going to maintain the tables?
So I was going to try and build them so that it would have to have the least like maintenance needed. So it's going to be stained so that the weather doesn't affect it as much. And I was hoping the beneficiary was the town. So if anything goes wrong, I'm guessing it would be the town, but I'm trying to make sure when I'm building it that nothing does go wrong. So like the stain will help it from the weather, and then I'm gonna use all the correct wood so that it can stand for hopefully a couple decades. Use the right nails and make sure that it's actually sturdy so that it doesn't fall apart.
Great. And for the record, the neighbor, on behalf of Joe Harrington, the president of the Neighborhood Association, he indicated that his group is very much in favor of the project.
Yeah.
And that he within his group had asked for commentary, and the only commentary he got back was the question about maintenance, and then number 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, thank you.
Councillor Carney?
I think you've done an excellent job. And
Thank you.
I think what's impressed me the most is you touch base with Dennis Fazio. Dennis is a partner there, and he's going to make it work.
Yeah.
That was my playground 70 years ago. and there used to be baseball fields there. And people don't remember they planted trees in my baseball field. So it's been repurposed a number of times. And now that we have the boats there during the summer months, I don't think the wrong kinds of kids are going to hang there, as suggested by some people. I think some good kids will hang there. I think the fact that you're doing this in partnership with the library, and they can get the parts there and the chest things there, I think it's great. I think very highly, and I'm impressed with what you've done.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Councillor Chines?
No comments or questions other than to say thank you again for both your willingness to do the project and for putting together such a thoughtful proposal. I think, I know we were all impressed with what you were able to put together, the thought that you put into it when you presented to us a month ago. And I think based on the overwhelmingly positive nature of the comments, I think the community was as well. So to that end, Madam Chair, I would make a motion to accept the proposal to install chess and checkers picnic tables at Spalding Park as presented by Ben Bellier.
Second.
Great. And any further discussion? Councillor Butler.
Only one thing. I know originally your timetable was mid-July.
Yeah.
Is it now mid-August or?
Yeah, it's up to mid-August. Next week I am going on vacation, and then the week after that I am planning on, hopefully, if it gets back from the Scout Council in time, to start fundraising for all the materials, and then during that week going to a friend of the family who offered to have their house be the build site, start building it and then staying it, and then I'm going on vacation again the week after, and then hopefully the week after that finishing up and installing it. So mid to late August is the plan right now.
Okay, great.
So I think we ask that you come back and tell us all about it as the project continues. Councillor Fox?
Well, I spoke to Ben before it began. I'm a Troop 701 Eagle Scout. I also went through Dennis Fazio 25 years ago to do my project. So good luck with it. It's a really great project.
Thank you.
So Ben, can I just put two things for you to consider? So if you would read through all the public comments that we got, they were overwhelmingly supportive. As Stacy mentioned, WCNA is supportive, the Friends of the Lake are supportive. We have a letter from the disability community. We had one letter from Crystal Reed, who is a program coordinator at Communitas, which works with people of the disability community. And she just was asking, how adaptable this table would be. And there were some comments about making sure that it's not hostile to the disability community. And so I asked that you just kind of read these and maybe reach out to some people that work with the community to make sure the design you have is actually truly accessible and not something that we think is accessible, but that actually people who work in the field, if you wouldn't mind reaching out to some of those groups, I'd appreciate it.
Yep.
And then with that, if nobody else has any comments, we have a motion that was seconded. All in favor? Say, oh, I have to do a roll call. And I didn't, John, did you want to say anything? Councillor Chrisley?
No, I have no further comments.
Okay, and I forgot roll call. So Councillor Chrisley?
Yes.
Councillor Fox?
Yes.
Councillor Constance?
Yes.
Councillor Butler?
Yes.
Councillor Carney?
Yes.
Councillor Chines?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So much.
Good luck.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 5B, and I believe Tom Mullins is going to explain this a little bit.
Yeah, Madam Chair, there have been a couple of people who have emailed in saying that they were confused by the agenda description. We're in no particular rush to get this accomplished. It's basically just a redoing of a land swap that was attempted a couple of years ago. But I will rewrite the agenda item description for a future meeting and submit a letter explaining in detail what this is about, so you have it in your package. So I think we can dispense with this tonight.
Did we all get an email on this?
Table, or should we just dispense with it?
Maybe not. There were multiple emails about it, but not in public comment. They went to me individually and Kevin individually.
Should we table it, Tom? Is that the correct motion?
Yeah, I think a motion to table would
I'll
be
move to
appropriate.
table it.
Second.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Councillor Constance?
Thank you, Mary, Chair Butt. Thank you for that Attorney Mullen, because as somebody without the history, I myself was prepared to ask all kinds of questions of you, tell me what we're talking about and what's going on. So that would be great. Thank you.
Sure.
And just to clarify, this was something that was approved already, so this is just like fixing something. But you will further explain it at a further meeting.
Yep.
Great. Okay, roll call vote to table to a further meeting. Councillor Chrisley.
Yes.
Councillor Fox.
Yes.
Councillor Constance.
Yes.
Councillor Butler.
Yes.
Councillor Carney.
Yes.
Councillor Tides.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Thank you. Councillor Wu. Item 6A, discussion for the Nahant Street project update. I think we have another update from Tom.
Yes. So the ZBA, you may recall, rejected the 100-unit 40B proposal submitted by the Residences at Nahant LLC after more than a year of very frustrating hearings. The rejection was for ample good reason. Site distances were dangerous. Parking was so inadequate that it was a near certainty that residents, delivery drivers, and visitors would be forced to park on Nahant Street and adjacent roads. The site was so constricted that two large vehicles literally could not maneuver around each other on the lot. Snow storage was grossly inadequate, and at 5 floors, the building would tower over the neighborhood. The fire department had little hope of reaching the roof by ladder and did not have 360-degree access to the building at ground level. The project was a mess, and the ZBA, doubtless expressing the will of the community, said no. But the developer appealed their decision to the Housing Appeals Committee, as was its right. And in that venue, the considerations that compelled the ZBA to reject the 100-unit proposal would have counted for almost nothing. It was a near certainty that if the town went to trial, we would lose, and that losing meant that we would forfeit the right to help shape the project to any extent at all. We would have ended up with a 100-unit monstrosity. For this reason, Chairman Tom Lucy, Town Engineer Bill Renault, Police Lieutenant Joe Anderson, and I participated in negotiations with the developer with the aid of a professional mediator in a last-ditch effort to reach a compromise. A settlement in principle was reached on April 23rd of this year. The applicant submitted 2 rounds of revised plans to the ZBA, which were reviewed in executive sessions on June 4 and June 25. The final plans that were before the board on June 25 represented marked improvement over the original project. Instead of 100 units, there will be 60. The curb cut has been relocated to mitigate site distances. The building footprint has shrunk from 34.6% of the lot to 19.2%. The height has gone from 5 stories to 4. All of the setbacks are greater, including, most importantly, a front setback that has increased from 12 feet to 68 feet. There's now 2-way circulation around the entire building. Instead of 137 parking spaces crammed onto the parcel, there will be 93, but that works out to 1 for every bedroom. Open space has been increased from 15,000 square feet to more than 21,000, and the ledge excavation has been reduced by better than a quarter. On June 25, the ZBA voted to approve the compromise. It was reduced to a decision, which was issued by the Housing Appeals Committee, and a certified copy of it was filed by me with the town clerk today. Unless someone with proper legal standing files an appeal within the next 30 days, and yes, it's 30, not 20, as it usually is with the ZBA appeals, the decision will become unappealable, and a comprehensive permit will issue. I can assure you that nobody is happy about this, including the ZBA, also including the developer. But realistically, this is the best thing for the town in general and the neighborhood in particular. Now, the town council has no role in this matter at this point, and my remarks are for informational purposes only, but I'll be happy to try to answer any questions.
Councilor Constance.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is the whole building 40B or is it mixed income?
Well, with a 40B apartment building, you only have to have 25% of the units affordable. So you can charge market rents for all the others. However, all 60 units will count toward our subsidized housing inventory.
Councilor Carney?
I agree. I don't think anybody's going to be really happy with it, but I compliment you, Tom, and the ZBA for the work you've done. And I think they've done the best thing they could for the town.
Tom, when you filed today, do the neighbors or abutters get any sort of notice?
No.
Okay.
No.
So they would have watched the last ZBA meeting where this was just, did you say?
It was an executive session.
Oh, was an
Well, the last ZBA meeting was an executive session followed by an open session, and the vote was actually in open session.
So everything that you highlighted would be as part of the vote that ZBA,
Yes.
like the letter is part of the vote that they did.
Right.
Okay. So if people wanted to get what you read in writing, they could go there.
Yeah, it's important, I think, to understand that this is a very different legal posture than you generally have in a ZBA proceeding. In a typical ZBA hearing, the developer goes before the ZBA, gets a decision that he may or may not like, has the right within 20 days to appeal from it, as do abutters. In this case, the ZBA decision happened a long time ago. What's at issue now is the settlement of a lawsuit, and there are only two parties to that lawsuit, the developer and the ZBA. So while anybody with standing, and you could go on for weeks discussing what standing means, has a right to try to appeal, basically this was an agreement between those two parties, and nobody has any statutory right to mailed notice or published notice.
That's really helpful. Thank you, because I don't remember us doing this in the last couple of years where we actually.
No,
Right.
and the reason is Wakefield is great about dealing with affordable housing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a generation since anybody since any ZBA voted no on a 40B project. Literally a generation. That is to say, when I started as town council back, or during the early Pleistocene period, there was a denial. I can barely remember it myself. Nobody who's on the ZBA now was on the ZBA at the time, and ever since then, the board has worked cooperatively with developers and has found solutions that more or less work. In this particular case, unfortunately, the developer wasn't forthcoming until things got real serious and we were on the verge of trial.
Well, and just, this is such a long process, but when it was first being proposed, members of the town council went and had a site visit. We kind of looked at it, and so the improvements you talked about are so much better. Just more open space, further away from the street, less units, all of that, less parking, and I really appreciate the time. Thank you, Lieutenant Anderson and Will and Tom Lucy and yourself for negotiating and coming to something that is much improved. I know it's not perfect, but it is much improved.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to
Councilor
point
Carney.
out, Madam Chair, that Tom warned us, before this even came about, he warned us of the fact that we're never going to win this if we go before the state. And so we knew going in, and we decided we wanted Tom to represent us rather than an outside attorney. And the fact that I think this has been a successful effort, and I appreciate your recommendations and your follow-through.
Sure, thanks.
Councilor Chines?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So first of all, I think I echo what everyone else says, particularly the thank you to you, Mr. Mullen and the ZBA for working through this. I mean, it's not a good outcome, but it is the best outcome under the circumstances, and I think that we recognize that. I did want to ask sort of a related but sort of unrelated question. There is a second development proposed for Nahant Street. Do you have any updates as to where we are in the process for that one?
I'm about 24 hours away from knowing.
Okay.
We have a Zoom meeting with the state tomorrow, a status conference. And I'm going to be very curious to hear what the Developers Council says. At the same time that we did a mediation in the 100-unit case, we also did a mediation in the smaller case of 32 Nahant Street. I think there were 32 units that were proposed. We ultimately talked them down to 22 units and got them to make some other concessions. That was supposed to have resulted in a decision, a definitive plan and a decision months ago, and I've been waiting for it. I contacted the Developers Council and asked, what you've been in a rush until now, what's happening? And all I hear is, well, we'll get back to you. So I'd be speculating, and I don't want to do that if I tried to assign a rationale. So I'm really curious to hear tomorrow.
Got it.
Where we are.
I think we are too, but certainly I think the message is, though, I mean, we have engaged with the other developer and, made an attempt to try to get to something that would be palatable or more palatable than what had been proposed.
Oh, it's better than that. We have a deal.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we have a deal, but the deal requires the other side to come up with a new plan for the ZBA to review in executive session exactly as they did in connection with the larger project. It's ironic that the larger project got done first, and we're having this difficulty getting the developer to produce a plan in the smaller one.
Got it. So he's agreed in principle to units, setbacks, all of those issues. It's just he's got to put something in place that the ZBA can review definitively.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Okay, thank you, Tom.
Sure.
And moving on, and I will move on to 6B, but I welcome Councillor Fox. I forgot to welcome Interim Town Administrator Kevin Gill to our table this evening. So thank you. I hope you survived week 1.
Week 1 was great.
And you're here, so that's great. We appreciate all that you are doing. And you are going to update us on the state budget.
Yes. The state budget was passed a couple weeks ago. What does this mean for Wakefield? Wakefield receives funding on our cherry sheet from the state. For fiscal 26, the town is expected to receive $14,430,007. The vast majority of the funds that come in, approximately $9 million, is for Chapter 70, which is school funding. So in real dollars, this is about $592,000 over the current fiscal year, or an increase of 4.3%. Also not included in this number, the town did receive several earmarks. We received $75,000 for HVAC improvements to the senior center, the second floor, that was just redone. We also received $50,000 for Maple Way Playground for improvements, $25,000 for pollinator garden, and $20,000 for ADA upgrades at the Albion Cultural Exchange. I did want to point out one concern about the FY26 state budget. Because of what's happening at the federal level, there was that concern that was mentioned about 9C cuts, which would happen sometime in the future if the federal funding doesn't come into the state the way it has in the past. So I wanted to put that out there just in case that there is a concern about that this year.
Good. Thank
Okay.
you, Councillor Constance.
When do you think you'll know about the federal monies? Do you have any, I mean, I know it's looking through a dark glass, but
It's
like
hard.
as you're planning and thinking, do you have a thought?
It's hard to say. It could be the first half of the year, so maybe by December, we should have a somewhat of an idea how state revenues are coming in and how, if there's going to be any impact on the local level. So hopefully it's by the December timeframe.
Councillor Carney?
I just hope it doesn't follow what happened back in 2008.
Right. That was
And
tough.
that's, they wait so long, and then they put the cut in, and you have to eat the cut, a year's cut in 6 months, and that was disastrous.
Yes, it was.
Councillor Chines?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think as we think about sort of the state piece of it, I think a lot, there's what do we know for fiscal 2026, which has now started, but I actually think fiscal 2027 is probably the larger issue, just because a lot of the a lot of the federal dollars coming into the state for Medicaid and so forth, those reductions really have a tail to them in terms of when like the work requirements start and so forth. And so I do think there's a question about, effectively, when will we know more from the state perspective for fiscal 2026? But we're going to be having the same conversation as we look ahead to fiscal 2027. So this is a longer term issue for us. I think given that, to me, the fact that we're sitting at something north of 4% for an increase in local aid is actually a positive. I know the legislature put a lot of money into Chapter 70 in increasing the minimum aid per pupil there, which helped a lot, and I am grateful for that. Also grateful for the earmarks, not only that we got in the state budget, but I think we had a couple of others from some of the surplus surtax
Yes, we did.
funds as well. I had seen, I think, $100,000 for roadway improvements and $25,000 for the police traffic monitoring system.
Correct. That is correct.
And do we have a sense as to when those dollars actually, when do we get the money for all of those?
From what I heard, the FY25, the money that was in the supplemental should be available in a month or so.
Okay.
The earmarks for fiscal 26, because of the federal funding, they may hold on to that money a little bit longer just to make sure that the state is receiving their funds from the feds.
Got it. Thank you.
Councillor Butler?
So speaking of the earmarks now, does the 75, and really the two things are the HVAC and the ADA accessibility, do those cover what the cost of that will be, or are we getting $75,000 from the state to do HVAC that's a $300,000 project?
Usually it's enough to cover what they're looking to do on those projects.
Okay,
So I think that covered it for the HVAC.
yeah.
And then I think for the ADA accessibility upgrade, it was like to do where the stairs are, to do a ramp. So that'll cover it. It's not like putting
Not
in,
the elevator.
it's not the elevator project.
Okay.
So I think when we proposed these, that covers all of it. We don't have to add in extra money.
I love that a ramp costs $20,000, but that's besides the point.
I'm not in construction.
I will say, I can vouch for the fact I did ask the DPW for the $75,000 estimate. I had spoken to the delegation about that, given that we don't have air conditioning up on the top floors there, and that number did come from them, so
Okay.
hopefully it should cover it.
Councillor Carney?
And you clarified what the ADA was for, and I didn't hear you.
It's for, it's not for an elevator, because we know that cuts up. It's to, there's stairs to get into the building right now at the Cultural Albion Exchange, so it's to put a ramp, so someone in a wheelchair can go in and not have to climb the stairs.
The ramp's gonna have to extend down the sidewalk.
There was a way that they were figuring it out. I know they were in conversations with Bill Renault, like the town engineer, yeah.
Interesting.
Which I think is maybe why it's more expensive, because it's not just like, I feel like it had to wrap around a little bit.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments, Councillor Fox?
Just curious where the pollinator garden is going.
That was a new one to me. I was not sure.
25,000 is a good amount of money. Just curious where they were going to spend it.
So that was one I requested as well. That was one of my ARPA requests back in the day. We would have to figure out where we want to put
Okay,
that.
so you need to
we have
determine the location.
Yeah, we have the discretion to figure out where
Okay.
we would want to do that. But we have the money for it.
Yeah, and I think if this follows kind of the community garden, then there'll be conversations with Dennis about proposed locations, and then we kind of narrow it down. So we'll have those conversations once we get the money. We're not going to have the conversation until we have the money.
Right, correct.
Thank you for explaining all that. And I think just to remind everyone that we started a couple of years ago, like the tri-board meeting, so us, school committee, and the finance committee. And I'm thinking like it's normally in the fall, but maybe if we do it later fall, so we have a better understanding of what money we're getting from this state budget, what the federal budget looks like, and then if we can have like projections for next year.
Sure.
So we'll keep on thinking about that, but I'm thinking maybe October is better than
That makes sense.
September.
Yes.
Councillor Chines?
I would also say to that vein, I mean, this may be a year where there's more than one tri-board meeting.
Yep.
And, you know, we may find, especially if the state does make 9 C cuts, that we as 3 boards probably may need to get together more than just once.
Yes. Anything else about the state budget or budget planning? Okay, thank you. Moving on to item 6C, the Town Administrator Search Committee. Kevin, as a member of the search committee, can you give us an update?
Sure. The screening committee met on July 2nd. We selected a chairperson and a clerk. A week before that meeting, we did receive from the search firm 23 applicants and resumes to review. At our July 2nd meeting, we did select 6 individuals to interview. We have those interviews scheduled for July 21st and July 22nd. At the end of the July 22nd meeting, we will pick our finalists, and we will give those names to the search firm. They will do a more in-depth background check and check references. Then they will do a report for the town council, and the town council interviews are scheduled for August 12th and August 14th.
And you picked a chair.
We did pick a chair, Dan Sherman.
Dan Sherman is the chair. Great. And so all the councilors should have had the August 12th and August 14th meetings added to your calendar. It's in Govinda. We're going to start those at 6, and they're over 2 nights. So our hope is that we're going to have 3 to 5. We're not quite sure. We'll see what the search committee recommends. So we did it over 2 nights. This room was not available, so we're doing them at Town Hall. I know some members might be away, but there'll be a Zoom link, so I hope that you can Zoom in for them. I think it's important to be there for the interviews.
Are we expected to vote after the 14th, or? I don't think so.
I think not, and I asked Joe Petron from the search committee. I think it would probably be best to kind of do the interviews, mull about it, and then schedule another meeting where we do the vote and have a discussion. I don't think we're that productive when we start having votes and discussions at 10 p.m. So I think people can kind of, after the interviews, do their own research, kind of figure stuff out, and then I think we come back and debate it. We are not, we can't do deliberation outside of it, but I don't think we want to do a vote that night. I'm happy to hear from others, but I think that would be a lot.
I completely
And I think if it's 5 people, it's too much to do all the interviews in one night.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd get them done, let's say there's 4. We can do 2 on Tuesday, 2 on Thursday, and then depending on it goes, schedule another meeting. We want to tell people sooner rather than later. So schedule maybe another meeting like the following week, which can be, or, we'll figure that out because when is our August meeting? It's the 11th. So, based on how it goes, we'll schedule a conversation to discuss it.
Maybe after everything's over on the 14th, people just look at their calendars and figure out when you could even do a one-off, you probably won't need more than an hour. But.
Yeah, I didn't want to schedule it too far in advance just because this is assuming that everyone can, like all the candidates can come on one of those 2 dates. I don't want to get too far ahead of the scheduling, but yes, like if I think that makes sense, we could try to do that after the 14th. Councilor Carney?
Sherry, we haven't got those on our calendar yet, right?
It was in Govinda, I just checked.
Pardon?
They're in
They're in
Govinda, I
Govinda.
just checked.
Really?
Look, if you go to meetings.
They should be.
Oh, under me, I'm slow to figure this thing out.
No.
Okay.
So we'll send out, we'll get reminders about it, but again, they'll start at 6 and they're at Town Hall, not here. And the goal is that the search committee, so the search firm will send us all the information. So they're going to do references and background checks, and they'll send us like their CV and kind of like summaries on all of them that we'll get before the interviews.
Just for consideration, by the time we've interviewed the 2 nights, it's going to be public knowledge who the 6 candidates are.
Yeah.
And the background checks have already been completed
Yes.
for that. I just suggest that we have a meeting within a reasonable time because it's going to become public bet. People are going to start talking about it, and that lobbying effect happens. And I just assume make up our minds collectively and us make the decision rather than making this a circus. And I say that out of experience.
Yeah. You're the one who's done it on
Yeah.
this council. So I think my guess would be on that Monday or Tuesday. We'd likely, like the following Monday or Tuesday, depending on people's schedules, we'd probably just have a meeting where that's all we discuss. But yeah, well, I think I like that idea, Stacy, of on that Thursday, then deciding.
Bring calendars.
Yeah.
So we can get something down.
Yeah. Councilor Butler?
Marie, can I ask just one clarification question?
Yeah, of course.
When will we receive the lists of the finalists with their attendant, resumes and background information? What date will that happen?
So that should happen by the 6th at the latest.
August 6th.
John said that by the 6th. So he's going to, the interviews are the 21st and 22nd, and then they need some time. So his due date to get it to us was the 6th at
Okay.
the latest.
Yeah. And how does he send that to us? Does that come through Govinda as well?
That will be in Govinda, yes.
All right, thank you.
Councilor Butler?
And I'm sorry, I know you said it, Kevin, how many people is the search, the search committee has whittled it down from 20 to 6?
6.
To
yeah.
6.
23.
And 23 to 6, and then you're going to interview all 6 of those over the course of, how long are they getting? 2 nights?
It's a 2-night. We're going to give them each an hour.
Okay.
So if they recommended 3 candidates to us, couldn't we do all those interviews in one night?
So John kind of recommended like an hour to an hour and a half to each one. So if we start at 6 and we do 3, that's late. I'm trying to be cognizant of how late we want to go. I know it might be, if it's like 2 in one night and 1 in the other night, I don't know if that's a benefit or not, but I think if we want to do a full, I think an hour to an hour and a half is what we would want to do. And then doing more than 2 in a night, I just feel like, you know, I don't want to go really late. I actually deliberating it, I am okay with that. But I think for the interviewing, I don't think that's fair. Councilor Chines?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's less about the lateness, but I mean, there's a lot of mental energy that goes into interviewing someone, and I think if you have 3 candidates in one night, it's just, it's a lot, and I worry about us not being at kind of the top of our game for the 3rd candidate in that evening. So I do think it would make sense to split. Even if we had 2 candidates, I would split them across the 2 nights.
And it sounds like there may be more than 3, too, based on what Kevin said. So I guess we don't know yet what the schedule's going to look like.
We don't know.
So.
The goal is between 2 to 4-ish, 2 to 5-ish, I think is what they said. But it's basically what the search committee.
Don't they?
Is that what we said?
Yeah.
We said 3 to 5?
Well, yeah, I think we said
3 to 5? 3 to 4?
Yeah, 3, 4, 5, whatever. But like,
Yeah.
I don't want 2.
I would like it to be 4
Yeah.
or less. I think if there's 5,
it's 3 to 4.
Yeah, I think that's fine too. Again, you've whittled down from 23 to 6.
Right.
If you give us 4, that's I feel like. And have the 6 been notified?
Yes, they have.
Okay. So if you haven't been notified, I'm sorry to break the news to you.
They have.
Well, and just to remind everyone, like, we're the final voters.
Yeah.
The search committee is helping us, right? So if we get 3 to 4 and we can't come to consensus on any of them,
Or if we don't like any of them.
and then we say that we go back to the 23 and we reopen it, right? That's what we negotiate. You, I think, purposely negotiated that that amendment to the contract.
You negotiate the cost part of it.
Yeah, no cost to do that. Right? They do it for free.
But you could possibly have people, once notified, drop out. And that's happened.
Yep.
You know, they're in it and they're not sure, and then all of a sudden they realize that, do I really want to do this?
No. And even we hire, then if we make the decision to pick someone, then we've got to do contract negotiations. So it's all. Who does that? Is that us or is that you?
I think that's part of the search firm. I mean, we would set parameters,
Okay.
but I think that's part of their package.
Okay.
You
They've
negotiated that.
They've given them a range. No, I think we would put in the parameters and
Yeah.
they finalize it. Any other questions, comments? And then just everyone, we had done the survey. The survey results are in our package. They're actually up on the town administrator search website. That's part of our town website. There were over 200 people who responded. I think some, lots of themes of what we all would like in the next town administrator. But that's on the website if anyone wants to look at it. Okay, moving on to item 6D, bond and bond anticipated notes. Kevin.
Sure, quick update. Back in the middle of June, we had a surveillance call with S&P. S&P came back with our rating in the end of June. We are now rated AA+ with a stable outlook. The bonds and bonds, the sale date is July 17th. For bonds, we're selling $1,695,000 in bonds, which are short-term notes. This is for what was approved at town meeting, $1.3 million for the remediation over at Butler Ave, and $395,000 for design of a salt shed. For long-term bonds, $106,144,000. There's $100 million for the high school project, $3,644,000 for water mains, and $2.5 million for roadway improvements. And we have scheduled with the town council a meeting on 7/23 at noontime to sign off and do the final votes on these 2 items.
just to remind everyone that that meeting is in your Govinda. It is a Zoom call, does not last long. We hop on a Zoom, we take the vote so we can get the paperwork done and the vote done. But that should be in your calendar as well, July 23rd. And Councilor Tynes.
Just two quick questions. The roadway dollars, is that the last tranche of the strategic road repair fund, the 10 million that was authorized several years ago at town meeting?
I believe there's one more.
Oh, there's one more after this. Okay. And then, do we have a sense as to where we are with interest rates, or are we still we're still early for that?
A little early, yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Councilor Butler.
I guess. So I guess before it becomes a big issue, and I think it probably already has for some folks, but yes, we did. We lost the AAA bond rating this past June. I think just sort of as a 30,000-foot level from being in the business, the difference in rate is very de minimis. It's generally, depending on the year, it probably costs somewhere between 5 to 9 basis points more to have AA plus paper versus AAA. That being said, we are probably actually going to get hit less with this because we were AAA, but we had a negative outlook. And towns that have a negative outlook, it means that there's, a 50-50 or better chance when they're next reviewed that they're going to lose whatever their current credit rating is. So, and the markets price that in accordingly. Just in terms of what the overall cost, the additional cost of this is, it's probably, the loss of that rating probably will cost our, around these notes in particular, and this is the bulk of our, this is probably 40% of our borrowing, probably costs us be somewhere between, I would say between $50,000 and $110,000 a year in additional interest. This is on the 200 and some odd $1 million of interest of bonds we currently have outstanding. And one of the reasons why we lost it is really, we built a new school. Anybody if you come to market with $100 million in bonds, it's going to cost you a little more. Think of it in terms of your credit cards or other things like that at home. If you ramp up your credit card and you exceed those balances, they're going to charge you more. You become a bigger risk. Now, AA positive still means that the S&P has full faith that we will be able to pay our debts accordingly. This is the second highest rating there is. And again, we are not, the premise of the difference in rate indicates how much of an increase in risk it is. This is not a huge increase in our risk profile. Now, is it unfortunate? Yeah. Do I think that many other towns that are facing this sort of, debt increase for doing new construction? Yeah, there's probably going to be a fair number of towns that go from AAA to AA plus. There's probably a lot of towns that are going from AA to single A. But again, what this also means is this does probably hamstring some future borrowing. So lest anybody think that, yes, we're building a new high school and we're spending $100 million on this stuff, but it is not the case that we can go out and borrow another $100 million without it having a probably much more impactful issue to our credit rating. So this, this is the warning shot per se. The next downgrade would be much more significant. But again, S&P does not think that we are getting downgraded, thus the stable outlook. So AAA with negative and AA positive, is that what it is? AA plus with stable. Not the same thing, but pretty darn close. The best would be AAA stable.
And just to clarify, nobody at this table is proposing we're building another new high school.
No,
That
but
is
like
not-
if people
that has
think
not
that we
been
can go and
discussed.
borrow
Borrowing another
$100 million.
We're borrowing $100 million, yes.
No,
Not
this
unless
was the
rates
big
go
one.
back to zero, and then like I'm all in.
I was like, let's just clarify your hypothetical. That
Yes.
is not happening.
That's not on the table.
But no, I think I met with Steve and Kevin right before Steve left, and he said kind of what you said, that in the big scheme of things, there's a very little difference, and it's not major dollars over the span of the end of the
term of
the
the loans.
yes, the loans. That's the word. Thank you, Councilor Chines.
Just to sort of add a note to that too, certainly with the first tranche of borrowing for the high school, we were coming in at an interest rate that was pretty significantly below what we had projected when we had gone through the town meeting vote and the election vote. And I'm hopeful based on the 5 to 9 basis points, which for non-finance people is what, 0.05 to 0.09 percentage points.
Yeah, so it's, it's like it's
The point being, you
very
know,
little.
We still should, for this tranche of borrowing, most likely end up against significantly below the interest rates that we had assumed initially. So we are still in good stead. We are still on budget. And the interest rate environment is such that even with AA plus.
I don't want to correct you here, but I don't know where the interest rates for municipalities have not really come down dramatically. It's not certainly like the federal rates. So the amount of interest we're paying overall may be higher than what was projected. The difference in how much interest we're paying because we're AAA versus AA is what I'm saying. That's minimal.
No, I get that, but I'm just saying based on the first tranche of borrowing, we were well below. So unless the interest rates have come up significantly since then, which I don't believe that they have, but I could be wrong, and we'll see that when we get kind of the rates come through. We should still be running favorably.
Yeah. And so who is that now? Ed is responsible for going out and finding the... Okay. So that's the treasurer's job to like find the best rates and find the right investment bank to do this lending with.
Okay.
Will we hear from him on the 13th or on whatever day it is we're voting, or do we need to? Have we historically not
I
needed
think
to?
Ed will probably be on that call.
Okay.
Councilor Fox.
Just curious, how long would it take us to get our bond rating back up? Is it when you're borrowing $100 million, it's going to take us a long time to pay that down, so how long into those payments will we get a bump back up? Or would it just always stay that way going forward? My bond experience is a little different than yours. So.
No. It's probably a better question for Ed, but it's more in terms of it's more that like, what's the next thing we're paying off? We're probably getting close on the Galvin.
I think what, about 10 years?
10 years. We're probably, and it really depends on the town's income, like how much tax revenue we grow. Right now, the biggest issue, what was it? Was it debt to, like our overall debt to income level, or debt to GD, to debt to in revenue overall? It'll take a while to get it back, because again, they don't want to move these things around dramatically. If we got some sort of windfall, I suppose, and we paid off bonds early, that would actually, improve it. But I think they're looking at our current schedule of borrowing and saying this is what we see in the future. So you would have to change, you'd have to have some changes to either our spending policy or our taxation policy, or or we'd have to pay stuff off. Yeah, or revenue.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Kevin, and we will meet on the 23rd to further this discussion and take a vote. Moving on to item 7, licenses.
Madam Chair, move to approve a one-day liquor license for Caitlin Sartori for an event at the AmeriCal Civic Center on September 13th from 6 to 11 p.m.
Second.
Great, any discussion? Sherry confirming all the paperwork has been is in order. It doesn't come to us until you've done it all.
Yeah, correct.
Great. Okay, roll call vote. Counselor Chrisley.
Yes.
Counselor Fox.
Yes.
Counselor Constance.
Yes.
Counselor Butler.
Yes.
Counselor Carney.
Yes.
Counselor Chimes.
Yes.
And myself is yes as well. Item 8.
Madam Chair, I move to appoint Tommy Frohlichstein to a term on the Environmental Sustainability Committee ending June 30, 2028.
Second.
Any discussion? This was for an open seat. We have a couple more seats, I think, on the Human Rights Commission, but all of our other things look great. So it looks like the candidate just graduated from college and applied to be on it. We love to see young people join our committees. Any further discussion? Councillor Constance?
Just on a personal note, I happen to know this young man, and he studied environmental conservation and sustainability in college. He just graduated, and as you point out, I think it's one. I know him personally. I know the family, and I just think he'd be a great addition. He's and he is a young person coming into town service, so that's always to be encouraged as far as I'm concerned.
And of course, he's from BC.
Well, there is that. There is that. And his mother owns Rada Boutique, which is one of our premier Wakefield small businesses. So I see no reason not to move this forward with all alacrity.
I'm in favor of
Madam Chair,
it.
I'd just like to second what Stacy had to say. Had a chance to read over Tommy's resume. Seems like an extremely well qualified candidate, and I look forward to working with him on the Sustainability Committee.
Councillor Butler?
I'm going to vote yes. He didn't include any, methods of communication with him, though, on the application? Just not,
What?
we didn't have any email, I don't think we have any.
Did he email it to you, Sherry?
Sure,
You have an
yeah, I
email.
have
He
it.
just didn't fill that out.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
But
I have all his contact information.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, let's take a roll call vote. Counselor Chrisley.
Yes.
Counselor Fox.
Yes.
Counselor Constance.
Yes.
Counselor Butler.
Yes.
Counselor Carney.
Yes.
Counselor Chimes.
Yes.
And myself is yes. Moving on to donations.
Madam Chair, move to approve a donation of $25,000 from 62 Foundry Street developer for traffic improvements and donations of $160 to the Council on Aging with thanks.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Counselor Chrisley.
Yes.
Counselor Fox.
Yes.
Counselor Constance.
Yes.
Counselor Butler.
Yes.
Counselor Carney.
Yes.
Counselor Chimes.
Yes.
And myself is yes. Item 10, approval of minutes.
I will ask another counselor to make the motion since I was not present.
Madam Chair, I'll make the motion that the minutes of the Town Council meeting on June 23rd, 2025 be submitted for approval.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call vote. Counselor Chrisley.
Yes.
Counselor Fox.
Along the lines of Councilor, I wasn't here, so do I approve them or no?
I think you
No.
abstained.
You would abstain.
Abstain.
Counselor Constance.
Yes.
Counselor Butler.
Yep.
Counselor Carney.
Yes.
Counselor Chimes.
Abstain.
And myself is a yes. Great. Any announcements? Counselor Chimes.
Just a couple of things. Wanted to mention that Movies by the Lake kicks off this Thursday. By the Lake, as the name suggests. I believe this is Inside Out 2 this week, and really just want to give a shout out to WCAT, not only for everything they do for us, but for the Movies by the Lake. It's a great event and a great way to be downtown. We also have music downtown and by the lake before then, so Plaza Jazz, which I know is kicked off already. And for those of you like Councillor Butler who are not big fans of jazz, the Middlesex Concert Band will actually be by the bandstand just before Movies by the Lake, so plenty of options for music this weekend. Wanted also to remind people that we are switching email e-alert systems, our reverse 911 system. A number of folks have already signed up and gotten the test message, but if you haven't, please do so. It really is a great way to make sure that you're in the loop when emergencies or other issues are having in town. And then finally, just wanted to mention I have office hours tomorrow at the library from 6 to 7:30, so come on by.
Council Mullins.
Just two things. I too hate jazz.
You guys are nuts.
And
Blasphemy.
I just want to let the council know that last Friday I sent a demand letter to Republic Services, our trash and recycling contractor, whose personnel are on strike and have been since July 1. The letter demands that the company perform the contract and puts them on notice that we intend to withhold from the amounts we pay to them all liquidated damages that are chargeable against them, which should come to about $2,500 per day when they miss streets as they and stop collecting recyclables as they have been. Plus other costs that we have incurred. So I'll keep you informed.
On that, Kevin, if you could thank DPW and everyone else that's working on it. The communications at Jen's shop has been great, but also the DPW has been great. So please pass on our thanks to them. Tom, did you say two things? Or just that?
Jazz was the first.
Important first.
Wow.
I wanted to go on record about that.
I guess I
Sherry,
won't
would
save
you
you a
make sure
seat when
that's
I go
in the
down
minutes?
there. Cheers.
Sherry will make sure to include that in the
Yeah.
minutes.
Right.
Any other announcements?
Madam Chair.
Councillor Carney?
I just want to mention that on your first meeting, we all had nothing but unanimous votes, so it's a good start.
We'll see how it goes the rest of the term.
Kevin?
I had two quick things. The first was kudos to DPW, Joe and his team. Great job with the trash pickup. Tough time, and they're doing, not missing a beat, and they're doing a great job. Also, wanted to do a shout out for police and DPW. Great job on 4th of July weekend. You know, as soon as it was over, you know, everyone got out of there safe. Everything was picked up. Looks really good. Thank you.
Great job, by the way, for your first day as interim town administrator.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it was a safe day, and we a few of us marched in it, and we just want to thank the organizers of the events in the morning, West Side Social Club, the children's events in the morning, the parade committee who put on a fabulous parade, and then the West Side Social Club who do the fireworks at night. It was a wonderful day, weather held out. We thank all the volunteers, and then, you know, we talk about this all the time. It is set up by volunteers. The town obviously dedicates fund and time, but it is one day in our town that no public safety takes off, because we have this amazing day in Wakefield, and so we're so appreciative of everyone who spends a working day on a holiday for the rest of us. So thank you to everyone who helped with it this year. Councillor Chrisley.
Just one last FYI, Chair. I'm going to be following up with Bill Renaud this week about the Metropolitan Planning Organization funding for road construction. That's the Vision Zero pot of money coming from the federal government to see if Wakefield can be competitive for that. So I'll update the council as it comes along. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Fox?
Just one note, so the 12-year-old Little League All-Stars won the district and have sectionals on Wednesday night, so good luck to them. Hopefully they do us proud.
That is great. Sherry, any updates?
No, I'm all set, thanks.
Okay. Do I have a motion? Oh, any matters not anticipated for the agenda? No? Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Counselor Chrisley, roll call vote.
Yes.
I know there's something procedurally I could do to not do this, but we'll do it one more time. Counselor Fox?
Yes.
Counselor Constance?
Yes.
Counselor Butler?
Yes.
Counselor Carney?
Yes.
Counselor Chines?
Yes.
And myself. Our next meeting is the Zoom call on Wednesday, July 23rd. That's Zoom only, so don't come in person at 12 o'clock. And we will adjourn this meeting. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. The bylaws review committee was supposed to come in.